I tell you, my friend, this is too much fun. Welcome into the pre-game one more time. Yes, Shrewsbury Town welcome in Wrexham AFC. 22nd, taking on 3rd. Shrewsbury Town, very much a different team under Gareth Ainsworth, and it's going to be a real test for Wrexham. You're going to hear exactly what I think is coming down the line. Prediction, highlights, yeah? We're going to talk about the highlights pretty soon. We're going to talk the predictions sooner. We've also got a Stephen Fletcher profile. You're going to love that one. Then we're also going to get into the League One top matches, stats and stories with the head-to-head. And then we'll finish off with some game talk. But welcome in. Let's get started. And by the way, the last game at Wrexham, Peterborough United, the 1-0 win where Stevie's running down the ring. Not me, Steve Fletcher. Running down the wing because he scores that goal, celebrating like a madman. I would have done too, would you? Well, anyway, we had one of the family. Yes, one of the Ultimate Soccer family was at the game in Wrexham at the Stoke K Russ. Yeah, PJ, Mr. Sydney from Australia. Well, he was there, and he's still on his way back home as we speak. So we're going to talk about that one in the next show, maybe the show after. But hey, what an amazing finish to that game. And I tell you, we're in store for another massive dose of football. Shrewsbury Town, Wrexham AFC, welcome in. Let's take on the prediction right now. So yes, the prediction, and there it is, the New Meadow. Lovely, lovely place for a football match, hey? So let's get into the prediction, starting with the betting odds. Now, a home win. What are the bookies calling for a home win? Well, the odds are pretty good, 3-1, I think. That's not so bad. A road win, the away team, Wrexham, winning on the road, 10-11. Not the best odds, but yeah, that's the way it goes when you're really in form. For the draw, you've heard this before, right across the board, 5-2. Let's take a look at what I see coming down the road for the score. Shrewsbury's home form recently has been pretty good, only 1 goal conceded in the last 2. There is a definite chance that they can pull off a 1-0, although this game looks like a 1-1 all day long, and you would say that Wrexham has a chance at a 2-1. At least the 1-0 on the road is what I would call for Wrexham. I'm calling for the 1-0 for Wrexham on the road, but like I say, it's got 1-1 written all over this game all day long. So there you go. There's the prediction. I'm calling for 1-0. If it goes well for Wrexham, it looks like a 1-1 all day long. And don't forget, under this new re-emerging Shrewsbury Town, they could even win this one. It wouldn't be a shock. It would be unlikely, but it would not be a shock. Here, League One news for you before we get to Stevie Fletcher, the profile. January 14th, yesterday, Wycombe Wanderers coach Matt Bloomfield. Wycombe Wanderers coach, listen up. Matt Bloomfield departed, left Wycombe. This is bad news for Wycombe fans. Great news for the rest of the league, especially Wrexham. He's left Wycombe Wanderers. Where's he gone? Luton Town. Yeah, Rob Edwards got the boot on the 9th. And hey, 5 days later, Matt Bloomfield is installed as Luton boss. And there's a friend of mine that is attached to Luton. His name is Arabim Pepple. He's on the list. He's on the squad. At the moment, he's out on loan. I don't think he's going to make it with Luton, but he's there right now. Anyway, let's take a look at Stevie Fletcher, the man running down the wing last game. How important has Stephen Fletcher been to this team? That's the question. Really, that is the question. You've got to ask yourself, how important has he been? One question I'm going to ask you, and it's highlighted there right now. But let's take a look at Stephen Fletcher and the profile. And when you see what lights up, you'll see how important his goals actually have been for Wrexham. Let's take a look. Stephen Fletcher, number 26, our own super sub. It started at the beginning of the year, and it's been going all year. He's come from the bench, and he's done wonders with the hold-up play, but also with the scoring of goals. Late goals recently, as you're going to see. Ask yourself one question, and there it is, right in front of you. How many points has Stephen's goals earned Wrexham this season? Well, take a look at this. Those are the goals. Those are the magic points. It started with Wycombe, August 10th, start of the season. And recently, January the 4th, with the 1-0 over Peterborough. Who can forget that? But I'm saying this much. Ask yourself 2 more questions. Where would Wrexham be with or without Stephen? Take a look at that. Got to move along. But we got to highlight super sub Stephen Fletcher, number 26. Yes. So there you go, Stevie Fletcher. I tell you what, big points off of those goals, yeah, and he's what we call a clutch player. When you need your striker to be there for you, when it's needed, when you are in need, the big guys step up because they got that extra quality. Stephen Fletcher's got the quality. And when he leads the line, I love what Ollie brings, but I tell you, Stevie Fletcher brings a lot more dynamic play, and I think that's what we need to open up people. But hey, Stevie Fletcher, I had to do a profile. I hope you appreciate it. More news now coming down from League One. Check this out. This is bad news for Shrewsbury fans, but this is bloody good news for Wrexham fans, for this game especially. And I'll tell you why. And I'll give you my opinion as well on this one. Like I say, Tom Bloxham, and I've talked about Tom Bloxham earlier in the season as a guy we maybe should have looked at. We didn't, but just saying. Anyway, he's left Shrewsbury and he's gone to Blackpool. And that, if you want to know, a couple of weeks ago, they played against Blackpool Shrewsbury and Bloxham scored. I wonder if that's what advertised into Stevie Bruce. And you know what? 22 games, 4 goals, 1 assist on the season. But I believe all time it's 98 games and probably 7 goals. So he's not prolific in front of net. So why did they sign him? Just saying, just saying. Got me interested. Anyway, last time Shrewsbury played Wrexham, here's the highlights. Straight after that, we're going to go straight into the stats from the very same game earlier in the season. Take a load of these highlights. It's not good, Shrews fans, but it is for the Red Dragons. So I did tell you it wasn't good for Shrews fans, but yes, it was bloody good for Wrexham. I don't see the same kind of game. I really don't. I really don't. Take a look at the stats. Let's go. Come on. Let's enjoy it together. So take your time looking at the stats. This was game 5 early this season, September 7th, 2024. When you look at the stats full on, it looks pretty even. And let's face it, Shrewsbury had 10 shots, 2 on target. That's not bad for a road team, yeah? But it was individual errors, as you just saw in the highlights, that really put the boots to Shrewsbury's hopes of getting anything out of that game. Let's see what happens in this game. At the New Meadow, with a revitalised Shrewsbury Town under Gareth Ainsworth. 1 win, 3 draws, 1 loss in the last 5. So there you go. You've got the stats. You got the highlights. You pretty much got it all. Now we're going to move on to the League One matches coming up this weekend and a top 6. After that, we'll be getting ready for the head-to-head. So let's take a look at this week's matches in League One, starting with Shrewsbury and Wrexham. Come on, let's have a look. And there's something hidden in there that you might not know about, so you'd be wise to follow all the way to the end. I'm telling you, honestly, stick around. So, there are the games, and there is the top 6 as it stands right now, which could change, you never know. Wrexham in 3rd, away at Shrewsbury Town. We're going to be talking more about that one. Huddersfield unbeaten in 15th. In 4th, travel to Blackpool in 16th. Take Huddersfield to get something out of that one. Birmingham in 1st, unbeaten in 10. Take on Exeter in 15th. It looks like another home win for the Blues. Bristol Rovers in 20th, welcoming Barnsley in 5th. 4 wins on the bounce, it should well be 5. Wickham in 2nd, losing form, travel to Mansfield in 9. In form, take Mansfield. And Reading in 6th, welcoming Stockport County in 7. Reading unbeaten in 4. Stockport no wins in 4, take Reading. But don't go anywhere, there's more. Tuesday, January the 21st, Bolton, Charlton, Peterborough, Exeter, Wigan, Burton. And then Thursday, January 23rd, Wrexham AFC, Birmingham City at the Stoke Quayras, the big match. I wouldn't miss it for anything. It's going to be an amazing game. So there you go, League One matches, and I tell you what, the way the next 3 games are working out for Wrexham, we're getting plenty of rest time in between each game. I like that. I like that a lot. I really do. Before we get to the head-to-head, one other point for you. Gareth Ainsworth, Mr. Wickham. I call him Mr. Wickham. I tell you what, he was there for, 2011 till 2023? And here's some of the things. 550 matches, yeah, 39%. And 2 really, really big achievements. The first one being League 2 third place promotion. And that was 2017-2018. And then he upped it again. And League 1 playoffs winner in 2020. And that with Wycombe Wanderers. I tell you, I wonder if sometimes he wishes he stayed there. It wasn't so long ago that he was their coach. And a lot of things have happened. And if it doesn't work out with Shrewsbury this season, I wonder if at the end of the year, Wycombe will have a caretaker in place, or will they go back to Gareth Ainsworth? Something to think about. Anyway, let's get into the head-to-head right now. And I tell you what, ask yourself one question. Who's bossing this? Shrews or Red Dragons? Big up to everybody worldwide. And remember, like and subscribe. We rely on you every week. Let's get into the head-to-head right now. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Once again, we put a lovely background for you. I hope you enjoy the artwork, and obviously, that's the battlefield for the next big match. Now, talking head-to-head, that's why we're here. Historically, that's where I like to start. Yes, 1945 was where it all began. And recently, 2024, there have been games too, yeah? Take a load of that. Press pause, moving on. You know where we've landed right now. It's the last 5, the last recent 5 games between Shrewsbury and Wrexham. There's 4 of the last 5, and bragging rights goes to... yeah, Wrexham 3-0 earlier in the season. It's the rematch. If you're here for the first time, please like and subscribe. Cheers. So now you know the historical beginnings. Let's take a look at the slugfest head-to-head. Who is bossing this over time? How many wins has Wrexham got? How many draws? How many wins has Shrewsbury got? And there you go. Now you know. Let's get back on screen. Okay. So there you go. Head-to-head down. And again, Wrexham bossing it. Not always. But on this occasion, they do. So, that down. Let's take a look at the season stats from both clubs, starting with Wrexham, respectively. And then we're going to look at Shrewsbury Town and what they're about under Gareth Ainsworth. Come on, one more time, let's go. And after this, we'll be closing it down with what I feel about what's coming. And I've also got a story here about the racecourse ground, but not what you might think. Let's look at the season stats. Come on. And as the headline says, Wrexham did bounce back with a win, as I said they would, and as they have done each time they've lost this season. Again, they bounced back with a win. Now, the next 3 up for Wrexham, Shrewsbury Town, this one, you know it, but the big match coming up against Birmingham City, and then 5 days later, another midweek game, Stevenage, also at the Stoke Kairas. Last game up, got to say though, apart from amazing heroics from the team and Stephen Fletcher running down the wing, which I'll never forget, and you shouldn't either, but also Arthur Okonkwo came back and put in another great performance in net, earned himself another shutout. Let's take a look at Shrewsbury Town and see what effect Gareth Ainsworth has had since he's been there. Well, you don't need the brains of an archbishop to know that that's a bad season. But the season comes to you in 2 halves. Stay with me on this one. The first 15 games, Shrewsbury, 2 wins, 2 draws, 11 losses. 6 points from 45, 13%. 9 games they didn't score, 60% of the matches of the first 15. But since Gareth Ainsworth took the job, Shrewsbury Town look like a different team altogether. In 9 games under Gareth, 2 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses, 11 goals scored, 17 against for -6, 9 points from 27 for 33%. Only in 1 game did they not score. And the last 5, 1 win, 3 draws, 1 loss, 5 goals scored, 5 against, 6 points from 15 for 40%. A home win versus Wrexham would be a shock, a draw quite likely, and a loss not out of the question. So there you go. We've reached the game talk, and we've gone through everything. We've exhausted every angle to get you involved, updated, and ready for this one. And I tell you what, as each week comes through, there's nothing better on my calendar than when I get ready for a match that Wrexham's about to play. I'm like a kid at Christmas. Call it what you want. And you could say, how the hell can you still keep getting pumped for it? Well, it's quite simple. That's just who I am, and it's what I love. It's what I love to do. And if you're not the same way, please have fun your way. That's what I'm saying. But I'm not smirking because I'm a smirky little bastard at times. But I tell you what, each week I have a shitload of fun watching Wrexham, more than you could imagine. I tell you. So, looking at the game, I'm hoping you get more out of this than you normally do. I'm hoping I'm pushing you the way to having more fun, because literally everything around the club is fun. I know you can say, well, there's no news for the transfers and this, that, and the other. It's going to happen sooner or later, yeah? And you could say, why hasn't Sam Dorby come back into fold? Well, he's doing well at Dundee United, and I don't think that's going to change for the season. Bada-bada-boom. And he tried his luck already, yeah? There's no point going back to the house or the door you knocked on once where it didn't work out, if you know what I'm saying. So, anyway, cutting it short, I'm looking forward to the game. I've got a story for you about the racecourse ground coming up. You won't believe it. It's coming up right now. But before we get there, Ainsworth, 9 games in, 2-3-4, yeah? You've heard it. He's doing great. He's changing their fortunes. And if they carry on the way they are, it could well go that they do survive. And if they do survive, it's when they get a pump in the arm, a shot of confidence, not Dutch courage. When they slay teams, perhaps, like Wrexham. Because if it happens, it's not a shock. Yes, 1-1, you've heard everything I've said, but I'm looking for the 1-0 for Wrexham for sure. But this would not be a shocker, yeah? They were 11 points from safety before Gareth took over. It's now 8. So you can see slowly over time, he's making a damn good difference. Is it going to be enough? I'm saying this much. The wins have got to come for sure. But by the end of the season, it could be 1 or 2 points that makes the difference. Right now, Shrewsbury are in form, the best form of the season. And Wrexham are the next guests at the chopping block. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Before we shut the door, the story about the racecourse ground. You've got to get this. When I look at stuff and I do some research, it's amazing what you come up with and what you find. But I found something. I'm talking about Shrewsbury now, Wrexham. We've talked about Wrexham a lot. We're going to talk about Shrewsbury, and then we'll get back to Wrexham after that. But here's the story. Shrewsbury Town play at the New Meadow. That was opened July 2007. It's a 9,875-seater, all-seater stadium. 9,875. 9,875 if you can't figure that one out, because that's like a North American phrase. Anyway, prior to that, they played at Gay Meadow, a place I know very well. Paul Johnson was a defender for Shrewsbury Town back in the 80s. I know him personally. And he played for Shrewsbury quite a lot. You Shrews fans, test your history knowledge. Paul Johnson, yes, came from Stoke City. Now, prior to Gay Meadow, where they'd played, and that was Gay Meadow at Abbey Foregate, yeah, between 1910 and 2007. So 1910 to 2007, they were there for a long time. Prior to that, 1893 to 1895, they were at Sutton Lane. 1889 to 1893, they were at Ambers Field. And prior to that, get this. This is where it culminizes. This is the story. But prior to that, with all those games, they played 51 matches over 3 years. The first game was a 5-2 over Wellington Town 2 days after my birthday, not in 1886. And that was in 1886, obviously. And the ground was used in Monk Moor between 1886 and 1889. And that first ground, yeah, for Shrewsbury Town was called none other than the racecourse ground. There you go. Now you learned something. And I tell you what, when you start to look into club histories, when you're looking at the pre-games and what you can see, that's just one of the little gems I pulled out of the rough. But I tell you, it sets this up beautifully because there's a lot of history between these two teams. It's going to be a massive game. It really is. Like I say, I'm a 5-year-old waiting for this one. I hope you are too. Because at the end of the day, let's get into this. Let's go berserk. Let's have a fantastic time. Do what you got to do to get primed for kickoff. And like I tell you each week, watch this 20 minutes before the bloody game and you'll be so pumped. You'll have me sitting next to you. Yeah, remember, Shrewsbury. Wrexham, the new meadow. Let's have it. Cheers.